Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, content creation is wildly competitive right now, and it honestly feels like every single niche is totally saturated. But today, we're unpacking a really fascinating trend, this massive audience for faceless stick figure animation. Our sources are showing us a wildly popular format that is pulling in huge numbers. The best part, it requires absolutely zero on-camera presence, and it's built entirely using free AI tools. Let's just jump right into how creators are actually building these channels from the ground up.
So, staring at the current algorithms, you've probably asked yourself, is it actually still possible to grow quickly as a creator today? You might be sitting there thinking you need some massive production budget just to even get noticed. Well, the data we've got tells a completely different story.
12 million. Let that sink in. That is the jaw-dropping number of subscribers a legacy channel like Rico Animations has gained in this exact space. But hey, it's not just the veterans crushing it. Our sources tracked a brand new channel that uploaded their very first video and hit 90,000 subscribers in just 3 months. Seriously, 90,000 in 90 days, just by using simple stick figures? The potential for growth here is literally staggering.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover scripting with AI tools, generating your voiceover, creating the visuals, and finally putting it all together.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Scripting with AI Tools, the Master Blueprint.
Now, all our sources completely agree on one thing. ChatGPT handles all the heavy lifting here. But you have to use what creators are calling a master prompt. Think of it like a strict funnel for your ideas. You tell it your exact niche, like say self-improvement or finance, then ask for 10 topic ideas so you have some options to play with. Next, command it to write a really tight 30-second script. Why 30 seconds? Because that is the absolute sweet spot for high viewer retention. Finally, have it break that script down into specific visual scenes. You're basically forcing the AI to be both your writer and your video director all at once.
And check this out. Every great transformation begins with a single small step. That right there is an actual line of script generated by one of these AI tools. It really proves that AI isn't just spinning out dry robotic facts anymore. When you prompt it right, it generates highly motivational, emotionally resonant stuff that perfectly fits this stick figure style. Plus, honestly, it's kind of a great reminder for your own creator journey, isn't it?
Moving right along to Section 2, Generating your voiceover, giving life to your script.
So you've got your script, but you need a voice, right? Well, you have some fantastic free-to-try options to match whatever vibe you're going for. Noise.ai has over 30 voices, including this really calm, almost historic tone called The Observer, and they give you 2,000 daily free credits. Then there's 11 Labs, which gives you incredibly confident voices like Chris, along with the 10,000 credit free trial. But if you want a 100% free, unlimited powerhouse, Google AI Studio using the Gemini 2.5 Flash text-to-speech is an absolute game changer. You don't need a fancy mic, you literally just match the AI voice to the emotion of your script, and you're good to go.
All right, Section 3, Creating the Visuals, the Fork in the Road.
When it comes to bringing these stick figures to life, our sources present two completely distinct methodologies. You can either harness prompt-based generative AI for custom, smooth motion animation, kind of like an automated factory, or you can leverage static elements inside a design tool like Canva, which acts more like a traditional digital canvas. Let's break both of those paths down so you can choose what works best for you.
Okay, if you take the generative AI route, visual consistency is going to be your biggest hurdle. You'll want to generate your base images in ChatGPT or Gemini using a single reference photo so your Stickman looks exactly the same in every shot. Then you run it through a tool called Grok, which takes those still images and turns them into video. One source specifically calls out using the Grok Automation Chrome extension to batch process this in a vertical 9:16 ratio. But listen to me carefully here. The absolute golden rule when doing this is to let the automation do its thing. Never ever close the Grok tab until all your clips are fully downloaded. Otherwise, you literally break the entire chain.
Alternatively, the Canva path is way more about a cohesive aesthetic rather than complex animation. Just search Canva for a paper background texture, find a static stick figure you like, and then, here's the pro tip, click on the creator's profile. That lets you pull all your graphics from that one single artist, keeping your whole Stickman world perfectly consistent. Pair that with a bold, playful font, like one called Chewy, and boom, you've got a highly aesthetic scene put together in seconds.
Which brings us to our final step, Section 4, Putting it all together, the assembly.
So we have our script, our voice, and our visuals. Now it's time to actually build this thing in an app like CapCut or Canva. It's a pretty linear pipeline.
First, get organized. Import everything into one single folder. Step 2 is absolutely vital. Drag your voiceover to the timeline first. Your audio is the foundation that dictates the timing of literally everything else. Step 3, drag your visuals in and align them directly to the audio beats. And finally, layer on your text and drop the background music volume low enough so it enhances your AI voiceover instead of completely distracting from it.
Now, if you want that viral-level audience retention, it all comes down to pacing. You need to aggressively split your clips to remove any dead air. Keep it snappy. For your text overlays, highlight key phrases using 2 contrasting colors. Like making an action word pop in bright red against black text. If you want a really advanced rhythm, duplicate your text boxes so the words appear sequentially exactly as the narrator speaks them. Then tie the whole shebang together with some copyright-free tracks from a place like Pixabay.
Before we wrap up, I want to share one more thought pulled straight from the source material. It introduces this idea of the 5-minute rule. Look, learning all these new AI tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, 11 Labs, it can feel incredibly overwhelming, right? But as this quote says, the problem isn't laziness, it's that the perceived size of the task is just too big. If you just set a timer for 5 minutes to generate that very first script or test out that first voice, all that pressure just completely disappears. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence is what actually builds results.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've cracked open the AI prompts, the voiceover tools, the visual paths, and the exact editing workflow used by the top creators in this niche. The blueprint is completely in your hands now. So, the only question left is, what are you going to create with your first 5 minutes? Start small, stay consistent, and we'll see you in the next explainer.